Good evening, my learners. Today we are going to have our first class, that is chemistry, and I will be introducing chemistry from introduction. And thank you for giving me this opportunity to teach you and also to enlighten you when it comes to the work that we have been doing. So before we start, I would like to encourage you to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Also turn on the notification bell so that each and every time I upload a new video, you'll always be updated on what is happening. So this being our first class in chemistry, I want us to start from introduction, that is Form 1 chemistry. And from now henceforth, I'll also be guiding you on how to do well in chemistry. So we will start from the first subtopic under introduction to chemistry. This is Form 1 work, and that is matter. And matter, we define matter as anything. Matter is anything that has mass. Matter is anything that has mass and occupies space. So anything that has mass and occupies space is referred to as matter. Something else that we need to understand about matter is that matter exists in three states. Matter exists in three states. So we have got three states of matter. Matter can exist as a solid. It can also exist as a liquid, and it can also exist as a gas. Those are the three states of matter. So matter can exist as solid, it can also exist as a liquid, and it can also exist as a gas. The fact that we are now discussing about matter, we also discuss about the changes of state, or the change in state of matter. The change in state of matter. The fact that matter is not or does not exist in one state, it means that matter can be transformed from one form to another. It is very possible, or it is possible to convert matter from solid to liquid, and also matter can be converted from liquid to gas. That is something that we need to know about the change in state of matter. And the conversion of matter from solid to liquid, this process we call it melting. And from gas, liquid to gas, we call it evaporation. We call it evaporation. Matter can still be converted from gas to solid. Matter can be converted from gas to solid in a process we call condensation. And it can also be converted from liquid to solid. So gas to liquid is condensation, and liquid to solid is freezing. Liquid to solid is freezing. So the state of change, or the process in which matter changes from solid to liquid, is melting. From liquid to gas is evaporation. From gas to liquid is condensation. And from liquid to solid is freezing. That is what we have to know. There is also potential of matter changing directly from solid to gas, a process we call sublimation. This is a process we call sublimation. So we have got some different types of matter which have the ability to convert from solid to gas directly in a process we call sublimation, or gas to solid directly a process we all refer to as deposition. So we have such kind of matter, and those substances that have the ability to change from solid to gas and gas to solid respectively, we refer to them as sublimates. So the next thing that we need to learn on matter is concerning the properties of matter. The properties of matter. Properties of matter. Properties of matter. And the properties of matter. And the properties of matter, we need to understand that solids, when we speak of solids, a good example of a solid is something tangible with a definite shape. So most solids have what we call a definite shape. They have a definite shape. So you can be able to define the shape of that solid. Another property of a solid is that it has a definite mass. It has definite mass. That is also another property of a solid. And also it has a definite volume. You can be able to define its volume. So it has a definite volume. Those are the properties of solids. So the properties of liquids. Concerning liquids, we need to understand that liquids have no definite shape. They have no definite shape. They have no definite shape. You cannot tell the shape of a liquid. The shape of a liquid is defined by the container that holds the liquid. So we cannot necessarily say that we have a circular liquid or maybe a rectangular liquid. The shape of liquids is always defined by the shape of the containers holding them. That is one thing that we are supposed to understand. Also concerning liquids, we need to know that they have what we call a definite volume. They have a definite volume. We can be able to determine their volume. And also they have a definite mass. Liquids also have a definite mass. They have a definite mass. Let's get to gases. Properties of gases. Properties of gases. So gases, they have no definite shape. They have no definite shape. Also gases lack a definite shape. They occupy the space based on where the gas has been placed. Secondly, about the gas is that it has a definite volume. The gas has a definite volume. The gas has a definite volume. And the mass of a gas is not definite. The mass of a gas is not definite, so no definite mass. So those are the properties of matter, and by doing so, we can proceed to the next subtopic on conductors and non-conductors. Conductors and non-conductors. Conductors and non-conductors. Conductors and non-conductors. So chemistry is very easy. It is very easy to pass in chemistry, provided we understand the basics. we will be able to do very well in our examination. Remember, the word chemistry is derived from chemistry, so you just need to try and get things going. So we'll now get to conductors and non-conductors. Conductors and non-conductors. Conductors and non-conductors. So we can simply say that conductors are substances. Conductors are substances that allow electric current. They allow electric current to flow through them. That is the definition for conductors. A good example of a conductor is aluminium metal. We have sodium metal. We have what we call the copper metal. Those are good examples of conductors. Most metals are good conductors of electricity, and that means they can be able to transfer electricity from one point to another. But a good example we have said is metals, and by saying metals we can give an example as aluminium. Aluminium is used to make electric cables, and these electric cables are conductors. They are able to transfer electricity from one point to another. So having that, we can now go to non-conductors. So this is conductors, non-conductors. Non-conductors are substances. Non-conductors are substances that do not allow, it is the opposite of the other one. They do not allow electricity to pass through them. They do not allow electricity to pass through them. A good example of a non-conductor, we have a good example of a non-conductor based on maybe whatever we'll be checking out on. Let's say naphthalene. Naphthalene is a nonmetal. We have iodine. We have sugar, etc. These are some of the examples of non-conductors that cannot conduct electricity. Rubber, fabric. Those are some of the examples of non-conductors. Simply saying that these are substances which cannot allow electric current to pass through them by any means. So we are done with conductors and non-conductors. So the next thing I want us to discuss about is drugs and substances abuse. Drugs and substances abuse. Drugs and substances abuse. So before we dive deeper on this, I want us to derive the meaning of the following terms. What a drug is. What a drug is, and we can say that a drug is any substance. A drug is any substance, natural or manufactured, that when taken alters the functioning of the body, It alters the functioning of the body. That is the definition of a drug. A drug. So then we can mention something on drug abuse. Drug abuse. And we can say that drug abuse is misuse of drug or long usage of drug. Long usage of drugs for a purpose not meant for. For a purpose not meant for. So there's something else that I want you to understand, that both underdose and overdose, both underdose and overdose of any prescribed drug, of any prescribed drug is drug abuse. Is drug abuse. So when we are talking about abuse of drugs, it is not just the abuse of the commonly used drugs. Like in Kenya, we have the commonly used drugs such as tobacco, cat, and alcohol. That is not the only abuse that we have. Even the prescribed doses by our medical practitioners or our medical doctors, if you take an underdose or an overdose of that drug prescribed by a doctor, that is also another form of drug abuse. So don't take it lightly, that don't just take it for granted that when you undertake your medication or you take an overdose, it is not drug abuse. That is also part of drug abuse. And by doing that, or by working on drugs, we can check out on commonly abused drugs in Kenya. Commonly abused drugs in Kenya. Commonly abused drugs in Kenya. So I understand that I have a majority of learners who are following me from abroad. And perhaps you might think why I'm teaching on commonly abused drugs in Kenya. But kindly bear with me. Let us just be in one class and understand this. In Kenya, the commonly abused drugs, in Kenya are, number one, we have tobacco. The second one, we have alcohol. And the third one, we have miraa, or what we call cat. Those are the commonly abused drugs in Kenya. These drugs are legal. They are legal in Kenya. They have been legalized. So anyone who wishes to smoke or consume tobacco, it is already a legal drug. Alcohol, it's also another legal drug. Miraa or cat is also another legal drug. The reason why we don't indicate marijuana or bang is because bang is illegal. Though it is also being used commonly in Kenya, it is an illegal drug in Kenya. It is used illegally. But these three are commonly used in Kenya and commonly abused. And at the same time, they have been legalized by the government of Kenya to be sold and consumed by the Kenyan citizens. So we have tobacco, we have alcohol, we have miraa or cat. So these three drugs have their side effects. Prolonged use of these drugs, like prolonged use of tobacco, results to what we call lung cancer. It causes lung cancer to people who smoke. So those people who consume tobacco, they predispose themselves to contracting lung cancer. Remember, we have got two types of smokers. We have the passive smokers and the active smokers. So an active smoker is the one who is participating directly, smoking that tobacco. A passive smoker is the person who is just next to the active smoker and consumes that smoke and that drug indirectly, which still has side effects. We have alcohol. The side effects of alcohol is that it leads to liver cirrhosis. Liver cirrhosis. Liver cirrhosis is the hardening of the liver. Is the hardening of the liver. We have Miller or cat. Cat. What cat causes? It causes insomnia or lack of sleep. Lack of sleep. That is lack of sleep. So for those people who a lot of Miller and cat, it leads to insomnia or lack of sleep. Miller also, it causes what we call mouth cancer. It results to development of mouth cancer. So avoid using these things. Wewe sio mbuzi ati unakula tu matawi. No, that is not right. Avoid using these drugs and live a healthier life. So we are done with commonly abused drugs in Kenya. Let's now introduce ourselves to what is chemistry. So we were laying a foundation of chemistry through learning matter and drugs abuse, drugs and substances abuse. So I think now we are in a better position to introduce ourselves to what is chemistry. What is chemistry? What is chemistry? What is chemistry? What is chemistry? It's a question. So when we have been told to define the term chemistry, we will say that chemistry is the study of structure. Chemistry is the study of structure. Is the study of structure. We underline the word structure, comma, property. We also underline property. Structure, properties, comma, and composition of matter. Structure, properties, and composition of matter. Structure, properties, and composition of matter, and the changes that matter undergoes. And the changes that matter undergoes. And the changes that matter undergoes. So chemistry is the study of structure, properties, and composition of matter, and the changes that matter undergoes. So when we are learning about the structure of matter, the properties and the composition of how matter undergoes, that is simply chemistry. That is simply chemistry. So by having that, I think we can now get to apparatus used in chemistry. 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 So, where are these apparatus kept? Chemistry apparatus are kept in the laboratory. And a laboratory or a chemistry laboratory is a special room that has been designed and equipped with apparatus mainly for conducting chemistry experiments. So these apparatus are found in the chemistry laboratory, in which we use them to conduct some experiments in the laboratory. And we have what we call the rules and the regulations of the laboratory. No student is allowed to eat or drink anything from the laboratory. Number 2, you should never conduct an experiment in a chemistry laboratory without consulting your teacher or your lab technician. Thirdly, you should always ensure that the gangways are clear, so that in case of any accident, you should walk without scrambling out of the laboratory. Second, the fourth rule and regulation or rules to follow in the laboratory is that you should always avoid smelling chemicals directly from the lab. Another one is do not conduct any experiment without your teacher or your laboratory technician permission. Those are some of the rules and regulations that we always advocate for when you are conducting an experiment in the lab. Avoid running in the lab since you may trip, fall, and end up injuring yourself or even injure others. So in this specialized room, we have what we call, so we are now learning on apparatus used in chemistry. So in a chemistry lab, we have different type of apparatus. We have apparatus for measuring volume. We have apparatus for measuring volume. Apparatus used for measuring volume. Allow me to go straight to the point and explain on apparatus used to measuring volume. We have accuracy, we have accurate volumes, and we have approximate volumes, and we have approximate volume. So to measure accurate volume, we have 4 of them. We have the volumetric flask, we have the burette, we have what we call pipette, and we have the syringe, or what we call the syringe. Then apparatus for measuring volume approximately, we have the measuring cylinder, we have the graduated beaker, we have graduated beakers, and we have what we call a conical flask. We have a conical flask. So those are the 3 apparatus used to measure volume approximately. Approximately means it is not exact. You are just approximating. So we have the measuring cylinder, the graduated beaker, and the conical flask. This is a very these are very common questions even in the national examination. Name apparatus, name 2 apparatus, name 3 apparatus that are used to measure volume accurately. Accurate means exact, without any error. So we have the volumetric flask, we have the burette, we have the pipette, and we have the syringe. And I think we can draw these diagrams so that we will be able to see how they look like and differentiate them. We can be able to compare and contrast them in an exam context. And if you are watching me and you have not subscribed to my YouTube channel, do me a favor, subscribe to my YouTube channel. A lot more and more is coming. So turn on the notification bell, like, share this video with another student so that we can learn. We can learn together. And if you are interested in my services, this is my number, 0742. Let me start with +254 7 +254 742090825. That is my business number, and my name is Teacher Asaf. So if you are in need of my services, that is my tutorial services. I'm going to give you my tutorial services at a cup of coffee price, not that expensive. I understand that not everyone is continuing students. We also have private students. We have people who are wishing to do their examination coming 2027. I'm going to guide you on that. I'm also preparing such students. So if you're also willing, to attend to these tutorials, they will be of help to you. Remember that we are now coming to an end. We are now marking the end of 844 curriculum by the end of 2027. So we still have 2 more KCSE to go. 2 more KCSE to go. And once we are done with KCSE, there will be no more 844. So I believe that you can grab that opportunity. If you finished your KCPE exam between 1985 and 2021, and you would wish to sit for your KCSE examination despite not have seated for the exam before. I mean, you did your KCPE exam, but you are unfortunate that you never enrolled to high school and you want to pursue your dream course or your dream career. You still stand a chance to register for KCSE as a private student. I'll do a video and give you the guideline on how to do the registration if you are willing to sit for your KCSE in 2026 and 2027. Even still now, as we are speaking, we have not yet registered 2026 candidates this year. So you still stand a chance to register for your examination, sit for your examination, and get that grade, and also propel to be propelled to the university. So if you're in need of my services, this is my contact. WhatsApp me or just call me, and I'm just a phone call away. You can just reach out to me. Thank you. Let's get back to business. So I want us to draw the apparatus used for measuring volumes, and let us start with the ones for measuring volumes accurately. So we will begin by drawing the volumetric flask. How does it look like? Volumetric flask, it looks like this. It has a flat bottom. So this one is a 250 ml volumetric flask. So it's like that. Then it also has a cork. At the top it has a cork to cover. So that is the volumetric flask. Then we have the syringe. A syringe. That is our syringe. It has its calibrations there. Then we have our pipette. So you can draw this one. If you have not drawn, let me a bit, you'll draw it later. Then we have our pipette. So pipette looks like this. It looks like that. That is our pipette, 25 ml pipette. Then we have our burette. Our burette is like this. It has a tap at the bottom, and it has calibrations from 0. 0 is from the top, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. That is our burette. So those are the apparatus used to measure volume accurately. They are the apparatus used to measure volume accurately. So apparatus used to measure volume approximately. We said we have the graduated beakers, we have the conical flasks, and the measuring cylinder. So approximate volume, we have the conical flask. So this is how a conical flask look like. It's a 250 ml conical flasks. So this is the conical flask. Then we have a graduated beaker. A graduated beaker. 100, 200, 250. That is a graduated beaker. And we have what we call a measuring cylinder. A measuring cylinder. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and so forth. That is a measuring cylinder. So these three apparatus are used to measure volume approximately. They are used to measure volume approximately. So to do a recap on what we have done, we said that from the introduction on matter, matter is anything that has mass and occupies space. Secondly, we said we have got three states of matter. We have the solids, the liquids, and the gases. We said that matter has the ability to change from one state to another. When a matter changes from solid to liquid, that process is called melting. From liquid to gas, it is evaporation. From gas to liquid, that is condensation. From liquid to solid, that is freezing. From solid to gas directly is sublimation, and from gas to solid directly, it is deposition. That was based on matter. We learned about the properties of matter. You can do a recap on that. Then we went further to discuss about conductors and non-conductors and said that conductors are those substances that allow electric current to pass through them. Non-conductors are those substances that do not allow electric current to pass through them. Electric current to pass through them. So that is it. The next one is apparatus for measuring mass. 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 So for apparatus for measuring mass, we have an electronic balance. We have beam balance. Beam balance and electronic balance. Apparatus for measuring temperature. We have the thermometer. We have a thermometer. And apparatus for measuring time. We have a stopwatch. We have a stopwatch. Yes. So the rest of the apparatus, I'm going to share them in my timeline and I'll continue guiding you on that. The next one will be sources of heat in the laboratory. Sources of heat in the laboratory. sources of heat in the laboratory. Sources of heat. So we use heat in the lab. Sources of heat. Sources of heat in the laboratory. Sources of heat in the laboratory. So we do use heat in the lab for different reasons. We use it to heat. We use to heat substances, and this is what we are going to do in our next lesson. So we will stop it there at that point, and these are the this is the assignment that I want to give you. I'll give you some quiz, and the first question is define chemistry. Define chemistry. 1 mark. Another one is that differentiate between a conductor and a non-conductor. 2 marks. The third one, name 3 commonly abused drugs in Kenya. Name 3 commonly abused drugs in Kenya. 1.5 mark. Answer those questions and drop your answers in the comment section. So I want to end the session at that point. Have a blessed night, and don't forget to like, share and subscribe to my YouTube channel. I'm your one and only teacher, Teacher Asaph or Mr. Karaoke, with great passion to turn confusion into clarity. That is what I do. If you are also interested in my services, I've provided my number on the description button, on the description, on my description, and you can have my contact from that point, and also follow me up for more. Have a blessed night and a good night. Thank you.